As children grow, they develop opinions, values, and priorities that may differ from their parents. This is natural, but for many aging parents it feels like rejection. The child who once sought advice now wants independence. What was once guidance may now feel like control. This shift creates tension, especially when neither side knows how to express what they truly need or feel from each other. Parents often carry silent expectations. They hope their children will stay close, visit often, ask for advice, and continue old traditions. When this doesn't happen, hurt feelings build up. But rarely are these emotions spoken out loud. Instead, they appear as cold remarks, passive-aggressive comments, or emotional withdrawal, deepening the gap that neither side fully understands. Adult children, on the other hand, are often overwhelmed. They juggle work, family, finances, and their own mental health. They still love their parents, but their time and energy are stretched thin. When parents demand emotional closeness without recognizing these pressures, it can feel like a burden. Instead of connection, they feel guilt. And guilt is not the soil where love grows. It breeds distance. There's also a shift in authority. Parents who once made all decisions must now accept that their children lead their own lives. This reversal can be hard. Letting go of control feels like letting go of purpose, but trying to hold on too tightly can backfire. Adult children need space to make mistakes, grow, and sometimes disagree. That's not disrespect. It's simply adulthood unfolding. Another hidden trigger is unresolved history. Childhood wounds, unspoken grievances, or favoritism that was never addressed. These don't disappear with age. They quietly follow both sides into adulthood. And in moments of conflict, these old feelings rise again. Healing doesn't come from time alone. It comes from brave conversations, active listening, and a willingness to accept the pain we might have caused. Cultural expectations also play a role. In many families, there's an unspoken rule. Children owe their parents loyalty, obedience, or even financial support. But in a changing world, these roles evolve. What was once normal might now feel forced. When expectations are not adjusted to current realities, both generations end up disappointed. Mutual respect must replace outdated assumptions. Technology has also widened the gap. Older parents may struggle to understand the fast-paced, digital world their children inhabit. Communication habits change. A missed call might be seen as neglect, while the child thinks a quick text is enough. The tools of connection have evolved, but the emotional needs remain the same. Bridging that gap requires both effort and empathy from both sides. Lastly, aging itself can bring fear. Fear of being forgotten, becoming a burden, or losing relevance. These fears are rarely spoken, but often felt. And when they're not addressed, they show up as controlling behavior or emotional neediness. What aging parents truly want is reassurance, that they still matter, that they are still loved, even if life looks different than before. In childhood, communication is simple. Parents talk, children listen. But as children grow older, this balance shifts. They begin to speak their own truths, form their own ideas, and sometimes challenge their parents. Many parents are not ready for this. What once felt like a bond now feels like resistance. But this isn't rebellion. It's a natural part of growing up and becoming emotionally independent. As communication shifts, silence often enters. Not out of malice, but misunderstanding. A parent may feel ignored, while the child feels they're giving space. A short reply is seen as coldness when it's really exhaustion. Over time, these small misreads pile up. Both sides start to feel distant, and without effort to clarify, silence turns into walls that feel too high to climb. Tone matters more than we think. A parent's concern might come out as criticism. A child's honesty may sound like defiance. Without patience, words that were meant to build can end up tearing down. That's why active listening is key. Not listening to respond, but listening to understand. True connection grows not from perfect words, but from presence, attention, and empathy. Generational language also plays a role. What feels respectful to one generation might feel stiff to another. Younger adults speak in quicker, more casual ways. Older parents might see this as rude. But often, it's not meant that way. It's just a different rhythm. Instead of demanding the old way, both can try to meet in the middle. Respect isn't in the words alone, but the intent behind them. Modern life limits meaningful conversations. We message instead of call, send emojis instead of feelings. And while technology is helpful, it often removes the warmth that comes from voice, pauses, or shared silence. Aging parents may long for deep talks, while adult children default to convenience. To truly connect, we must sometimes return to slower, more human ways of speaking. Emotional honesty is the bridge. Adult children must learn to express love in new ways. And parents must learn to ask for connection without guilt. Saying, "I miss you" or "I need you" can feel vulnerable, but that's where the healing starts. Communication isn't just about talking more. It's about saying what matters, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Many conflicts between parents and adult children come not from actions, but expectations. Expectations that were never said out loud, yet deeply felt. Parents might assume their children will visit weekly, call daily, or include them in every holiday plan, but when these things don't happen, hurt builds quietly. And instead of asking, many parents react with disappointment or distance. Adult children often sense these expectations but feel trapped. They love their parents, but also want freedom. The unspoken pressure to always be available can create guilt, and guilt leads to avoidance. Instead of connecting, they withdraw to protect their peace. Not because they don't care, but because they feel like they can never do enough to satisfy what's silently expected. The pain deepens when sacrifices are remembered as debts. Parents who gave everything expect something in return. Not out of greed, but out of love that was poured without boundaries. I raised you, now you owe me. But love isn't a contract. True love gives freely. And the deepest peace comes when parents release the past and let love return in its own shape and timing. Clarity is kinder than assumption. Saying, "I'd love to see you once a week" is softer than staying silent and feeling abandoned. Saying, "It hurts when you forget to call" is braver than holding in resentment. Adult children aren't mind readers, and parents aren't burdens. But without honest talk, both sides keep misreading intentions, and the relationship suffers in silence. Another common expectation is sameness. Parents hope their children will live like they did, believe what they believe, raise families the same way. But every generation grows in a different world. Holding too tightly to old ways can cause conflict. Peace comes when parents accept that love doesn't require agreement, only understanding and mutual respect for different paths. Letting go of expectations doesn't mean lowering hopes. It means shifting from control to trust. Trust that the bond you built is strong. Trust that your children will come back, even if the journey looks different. In that trust, there is space. And in that space, love breathes again. Not because it's forced, but because it's freely given, no longer bound by silent demands. Respect doesn't come from fear or authority. It comes from presence, wisdom, and kindness. As children become adults, they stop responding to commands and start reacting to energy. If a parent tries to control, the child pulls away. But when a parent listens, supports, and shows calm strength, respect naturally returns. It's no longer demanded. It's earned in every small interaction. Letting go of control doesn't mean giving up. It means shifting your role. You're no longer the driver of their lives, but you can still be the compass. A steady guide they look to, not because they must, but because they want to. That shift is powerful. When parents embrace their new role with grace, children feel safe enough to stay close, not out of duty, but love. To stay respected, lead by example. Show curiosity, not criticism. Ask before advising. Share your story, not just your rules. When adult children feel seen and heard, they're more likely to return the same. It's not about perfection, it's about presence. You don't need to be right all the time to be respected. You just need to be real and willing to grow alongside them. It's also important to respect their space. Adult children need boundaries, just like you do. Respecting their time, choices, and privacy tells them, "I trust you." And trust is the seed of deep respect. Micromanaging their lives creates resistance. Giving them space while staying emotionally available creates connection. That balance is hard, but it's worth learning. Avoid the trap of comparison. Saying things like, "in my day," or "your sibling never does that," may come from frustration, but they often wound more than help. Every child is different. Every time is different. Respect grows in families where each member is allowed to be fully themselves, where differences are not judged, but embraced with curiosity and care. Lastly, remember this. The greatest form of respect you can receive is their presence. When adult children choose to come back, to sit with you, to share their lives, it means they value you. But they'll only return to places where they feel safe, not shamed. Be that place. Be that presence. And respect will not just stay. It will deepen as the years go on. Growing old is not a loss, it's a transition. A chance to see life from a higher place with deeper wisdom and softer eyes. But peace in old age doesn't come automatically. It's built, conversation by conversation, act by act, with patience, with humility, with love that's brave enough to let go and strong enough to stay open, even when things don't go as we once imagined. The bond between parent and child is one of life's most powerful connections, but it needs to evolve. What worked when they were 5 won't work when they're 35. If we hold on to old roles, we miss the beauty of what could come next. A friendship, a partnership, a mutual respect that transcends age and title. That's the true reward of growing together, not just older. To every parent watching this, your value does not disappear with age. You still matter. You still inspire. Your presence is still needed, not to direct, but to guide. Not to command, but to comfort. And if you choose to walk this phase with open hands and an open heart, your children will feel it. They will come back, not always with words, but with presence, warmth, and time. And to every adult child listening, your parents are learning too. Aging is not easy. Losing relevance, feeling forgotten. It's painful in ways you might not yet understand. Be patient with their silence. Be gentle with their neediness. One day you may stand where they are now. What you give them today is a reflection of what you hope to receive in return when the roles shift again. Peace in old age isn't built on control or tradition. It's built on emotional courage. The courage to say, "I'm sorry," or "I miss you." The courage to listen without defending, to forgive without being asked, to love without keeping score. These are the quiet acts that heal generations. These are the moments that turn family into home, especially in life's later chapters. In the end, it's not about how often they visit or how much they give. It's about how safe you make them feel when they do show up. It's about choosing to be kind, even when you feel forgotten. Because love, when given freely, always finds its way back. And in that return, you will find peace, not just with them, but with yourself. That is the true reward of aging with grace. If you enjoy videos like this, don't forget to subscribe to this channel.